So how do you grab your audience? How do you hook them in and give them a reason to keep reading, or if you're presenting, keep listening? Well, I want to demonstrate one way you can do that by looking at two different approaches to the opening lines of a piece of writing where two writers are writing about the exact same topic but take a slightly different approach, one of which is more successful than the other. Let's take a look. The two opening lines come from a famous legal case from 1970 called Hinds and Berry, and I want to look at how two of the judges sitting on the case opened their written judgments. In the blue corner we have Judge Baron Pearson, in the red corner Lord Denning. Let's start with Baron Pearson. Here's how he opened his judgment.
This is a case of considerable importance, because I think it is the first case in which the problem of assessing damages of this kind has come to the Court of Appeal. I would like to point out at the outset that this is an exceptional case.
Not bad, right? Pretty clear, not too wordy. Tells you right up front that this is a really important case, an exceptional case, a first of its kind. So that's giving you lots of reasons to read on, isn't it? Especially if you're a law student, you're going to want to be aware of this important legal first. But let's take a look at how our judge in the red corner, Lord Denning, opens the case.
It happened on April the 19th, 1964. It was bluebell time in Kent.
Whoa, where did that come from? Completely different approach to Lord Pearson. Lord Denning doesn't bother telling you this is an important case. He's not bothered about it being a first of its kind. Doesn't give you a reason to read on like Lord Pearson does. And yet, which one intrigues you more? Which one makes you want to know what happened in the case? For me, as a former law student, I know that rationally I should be persuaded to read on by this is a case of considerable importance. But it happened on April the 19th, 1964. It was bluebell time in Kent. Emotionally, that gets me every time. Let's just take a quick look at what Wikipedia has to say about Baron Pearson, our earnest insister on the importance of the case. He's best remembered for his unspectacular but efficient and courteous chairmanship of industrial inquiries and royal commissions. Efficient and courteous, whoa, talk about damning with faint praise. In contrast, our Lord Denning achieved the highest legal office in England. He was Master of the Rolls, but more importantly, he's every law student's favourite judge. To the extent that he even has his own range of t-shirts. Now, sadly for Lord Pearson, he's never going to be anybody's homeboy, no matter how courteous and efficient his chairmanship of various industrial inquiries. But Lord Denning, I would suggest, was such a successful judge and such a popular judge amongst law students, in part because of the way he writes. His judgments are always compelling. And let's take a look at each of those openings to see what we can learn from Lord Denning. First of all, start with a mystery. Maybe you think this is a case of considerable importance builds a certain mystery, a feeling that you should read on, but it's nothing compared with it happened on April the 19th, 1964. It happened. What happened? Lord Denning doesn't tell us, but we know it's going to be something dramatic, possibly something sinister. Whatever it is, there's a real feeling of suspense in those two words, it happened. And incidentally, here's Professor Vin de Silva, a mathematician, talking about how he creates suspense and mystery at the start of every lecture.
It's almost cliched, actually. The sort of the patterns I have when I set up a mathematics talk, and maybe when I do this in class, what I often try to do is set up a question around which my listeners will have acquired some curiosity. So it could be a mystery. It could be, why, when I construct this particular type of geometric object, do they always seem to look like this? Let's draw some more. Oh, that one looks like this as well. And now we have a mystery. And so once you have a mystery, you can then say, well, here's a theorem that explains why this slightly surprising thing is happening.
So setting up a mystery at the start of a blog post or a story or a lecture or a presentation or, in Denning's case, a judgment, instantly gives your reader a reason to stay with you. We have a natural curiosity, a human instinct to want to solve the mystery. The classic whodunit novel is a testament to that. And in fact, doesn't It Happened on April the 19th, 1964 sound a bit like the opening of a page-turner of a novel? Another thing to think about is that age-old advice that's given to novelists, but that I think applies to a lot of other types of writers, and that's show, don't tell. Baron Pearson told us the case was important, but Denning shows us that it's important by painting a picture of an ordinary day in April that somehow became extraordinary. And that brings me to my next 2 points. First of all, be emotional, not rational. And secondly, pictures, not processes. We all like to think of ourselves as rational creatures, especially if we're law students. But actually, if you want to grip your reader, appealing to their heart rather than, or at least as well as their head, is going to have much better results. It happened on April the 19th, 1964. The emotions that Denning is playing on here are curiosity, nervousness, fear, and he paints a picture too. Remember, it was bluebell time in Kent. Now, if I asked you to picture Baron Pearson's words, a case of considerable importance, you might have a fuzzy idea of what that involves. But it's not clear, or visual, or even visceral. But it was bluebell time in Kent. Just try not picturing a beautiful English spring day with carpets of bluebells everywhere. Of course, legally, that bit about the bluebells is completely irrelevant, but it's so powerful. What it does is it sets up a scene of calm that we know is about to be disrupted by something dramatic and possibly sinister. Of course, Lord Denning does go on to discuss the legal principles of the case, but he doesn't start with them. Instead, he hooks you in with the facts. He leads with the story. And I think there's something that we can all learn, whatever type of writing we're doing, from Lord Denning's example. So, for example, if you're writing about a new business process, don't start with the process. Paint a picture of what that process is designed to create. Or similarly, don't start with a new business strategy. Tell a story of what that new strategy will look like, what it's going to deliver. Or if you're writing about a new law that affects a certain group of people, don't just state the law. Give a real practical example that paints a picture of how that law would work in practice. Examples, concrete pictures that your reader can visualise, little details that pique their curiosity, or holding something back to create a little bit of mystery. These are all things that you can do to hook your reader in and keep them reading with you. So go ahead and make Lord Denning your homeboy. Happy writing.